Welcome, this is Ask a Black Woman, where we get real answers from real women. I'm your host, Deval Ellis, and on this episode, we'll be talking about married life. Let's meet the women. We have Brittany, Nia, Jaleesa, Ashley, and Nay. I'm ready to get going. Are you guys ready to get going?
Absolutely.
All right, so I'm gonna start with this first question. When did you all know it was that time to get married? Ooh, the laugh.
Always the first question.
I knew it was time to get married when he and I were living together and we kept having babies, and it was just like, okay, why not?
Heard it.
That makes sense.
I think I realized like there is no ready. It's a decision that you're gonna make, and there's no perfect moment.
I disagree with that. I just think that there is no perfect moment, but I also think that your actions and your words have to meet at some point. And that goes for both parties. You know, I think men constantly think that women want to be married, that we want to be like, yes, we want to mess our bodies up with these kids and we want to do all these things. And that's not necessarily true. But when my buy-in comes is when my husband's buy-in comes. And when I started to see that his actions actually started to meet the words that he said, it was like, okay, now I feel like, okay, now I can really like nurture this relationship. I can bring out some of those womanly qualities because I'm seeing him as a man kind of step up.
Why is marriage such a hot button topic with black women, if it's not about the title?
Because of the history.
And with women in generally, they feel like they need to, you've only earned the right once someone has proposed to you. Like you've earned this position being with someone once someone has proposed to you. Like that means something. You're elevated because you're now his fiance and now his wife. Women are society, Disney, everything is just, we're spoon-fed this whole, a man is gonna save you from everything. He's gonna marry you, he's gonna impregnate you, you ain't gonna have to work, and then your life is just set. So, but it's only when you get married to him that you've become this woman of any importance.
Right, and you become more so relevant in the eyes of society because you are a married woman.
How hard is it to manage the male ego in a marriage?
It's impossible because you could do everything and it's still almost not enough. But you ain't do that yesterday, but I did it for 2 months. Like,
I disagreed with the male ego and all these things and how a wife is supposed to be domestic and submissive. I grew up with 6 siblings. I don't wash dishes. I just don't like it. I have flashbacks. Like, I just don't like dishes. So he knows that. I feel like when you communicate and they know, hey, I know this is like my standard role, but I can't deal with this. It's something small as dishes. I can't deal with this right now. That's your turn to follow and say, hey, I'm going to pick up this slack that you're doing because you can't do it. But then also on me is a partnership. I have to pick up your slack on it. All right, I'll do the laundry then. That's going to be our deal. But I don't think that I necessarily have to bend to this ego all the time, with the male ego all the time.
But there's one thing that black men especially, in my opinion, kind of inhabit, which is there's an oppression. You know, there's an oppression on black men, and I think that they need a little bit more nurturing, which is why I think black women feel so rejected when we see how black men can kind of toss us aside sometimes. Because we know what you're going through. Yeah. We're there and we're strong enough to deal with it. Right. But when we see how quickly they don't want to deal with our strength, and then the first thing is angry black women, which I don't see that at all.
I could be angry.
That's
fine. I'm entitled.
But there's a level that we don't settle for, and that also goes to our men. And I think that the men that we have, or who we had, have been actually strong enough to actually be around us, and that's why we can have this discussion.
See, I think it's important that you said that, and it's something you said. You said you could be angry. One thing that you said that's very important, you said you understand the pressures of being a black man. I agree with you. If black men understood the pressures of being a black woman, they wouldn't just run to the fact that black women are angry. I agree with that. So I think there has to be a balance of understanding between both, because dating someone outside of the black race, they're going to come with a completely different viewpoint of how they're very happy all the time, because they don't have to deal with the same bull. So I get it, and I mean, that's a valid point. Do you think it takes black men longer to be ready to get married than other races?
Yes.
Why?
I'm not sure if it takes them longer or if society tells us it takes them longer. Because I see like older people, not anybody like immediately connected to me, but like a lot of older people back in the day were married. These black men were married to these women. Is it just that what we see on TV and what we see on the internet is telling us that, hey, these black men are not marrying these black women. Because all the black couples I know, my friend, they're married. My friends are married.
Right.
Not in my immediate family, but all my friends, that's black love.
I place a lot of the blame. This is gonna be hard. I place a lot of the blame on black men with single mothers who raised them to be. They were bitter because they were alone, and they raised some really, really F-boys, period. I've dated a lot of boys who just were raised by their mom, and just the disrespect that their mother has allowed them to treat women with is just outstanding. You're raising a man, but you don't raise him to respect a woman that he has or is with. And you promote the type of, the cheating and the lying and all the type of things that they do. You cover up for them. You think it's cool. You don't ever, he never learns that this is wrong. And they've done that because they've used the men as their own husbands. They've raised their sons as their husbands.
Well, also, you have to understand, what is that child seeing? What male did he see treat his mother like that?
But
Not
some
so
they
much,
didn't even see.
Absolutely.
Some didn't even see a man treat their mother anyway. She's just, because I know I have, and this is what I'm saying, because I have a lot, my friend base is primarily male. So I've seen a lot of women literally not have men. Their children were their men. They didn't have dudes or whatever. They raise their sons, and then they treat women so disrespectfully because it's almost like you're jealous of him having anyone, so you allow him to dog chicks out.
I mean, I feel that once they're at a certain age, whether or not you tell them yay or nay, they're going to do what they want to do. Granted, as a mother, I would hope that my influence on my son is strong enough to the point where he would know how to respect women, because I believe teaching them how to be chivalrous and also having men in their life strategically placed to help make them into a man helps them. So when they get older, I don't think it's fair to fault the mother in the event that he does not do everything straight by the book in the way that you may deem to be right, good, and acceptable. I just don't.
I don't mean by any book. I just mean having respect for women, for human beings. A lot of them don't have any. I'm in the conversations of what they call the locker room talk. So I hear real candid conversations amongst males regularly, and just the way they speak and how they treat their girls. And I meet these women and they're just doing everything, and they're just being dogged, dogs.
I understand what you're saying, but as a black man, I've been in a locker room with a bunch of different races, and locker room talk to me does not change based on race. I've heard white men, Asian men, Spanish men speak the same way about women.
Everybody.
I will say this though, the difference is if a black man does it, it gets the light shined on them. Because I have plenty of white friends who I know who cheat on their wives and have done dirt, and no one says anything about it.
Because I feel like in their culture that's acceptable.
But
I really feel like that's cool.
But even if it's just acceptable, I feel like black men get a stigma of that this is how we are because we don't have moms or we don't have dads in the house.
And that's not true
Which
for
I
everyone.
agree,
I have a man who has a
true.
mom and a dad, and I had a mom and a dad. And upbringing definitely matters. But all black men are not raised by single mothers. There are plenty of them that come from two-parent households.
If you had to say one thing to a black man about being married to a black woman, what would it be?
Have some empathy. Have some empathy for who we are and what we experience and what we go through and the life that we want based off of our past, our culture, and all the BS that came with it. Have some empathy when marrying us.
Just make her feel appreciated in the marriage. She'll make you, black women will always make you feel appreciated, but when somebody's appreciated, it shows. And then it's like water to that marriage, helps it grow.
I would simply tell them to love us black women better than they love themselves, because if they took into consideration the love that we have for them, it supersedes the love that they give us. So anything they give us, we'll give it to them more. It's like magnified.
Well, ladies, thank you for your time. Thank you for your candor and your honesty. That's all the time we have for today. However, tune into our next episode where we will be talking about the motherhood in the black community. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel and come back to Ask a Black Woman.